My next guest just recently wrote a book called From a Sports Fan to Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen, Vinny Micucci. Vinny, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. How you been, Dan?
Not bad, yourself.
I'm doing okay, All
right, Vinny, what was your real inspiration in writing this book?
I tell you what, it really was no grandiose plan. I sat down and just started writing this up because I wanted to tell everybody, not necessarily everybody in the world, just like everybody, family, future relatives, grandkids down the road. I wanted to tell people kind of what my experiences were. Well, what did I do? What did I go through? And be able to kind of chart that, even for myself. So as I start forgetting, I'll have a way to kind of reference and go back. But that was it. And then over time, as it started going down on paper and I started putting it all together, I was like, I think I have something here, and I can make it into something bigger and something better. And then boom, before you know it, a book started to develop. So it wasn't anything big. It just kind of happened.
So that whole concept of it not being big, that's a reason why this book is written almost like you're just talking at a dinner table. You're just having a conversation with somebody.
Correct. It's almost as if you literally just sat down for dinner with me and I'm just telling stories. So it could change directions. It could go different areas. It really is meant to just be like your average Joe fan has an opportunity to be a sportscaster and now is just so excited to just share all these stories with you at once. Here it is on the pages as it happens. It's not meant to be just, highly technical. It's more, here it is, the sports stories kind of as they happen, and then we're just excited sitting around while we're having a drink or we're grabbing something to eat.
And you got some great stories in here. One is when you at the 2004 ALDS and ALCS when the Red Sox beat the Yankees coming back from 3-0. You'll tell us a little bit about that?
Well, what I can tell you is that my personal side was very upset on that day. I grew up a Yankee fan, but it was okay because my professional side was like, this is incredible. Here I am in a situation that hasn't happened before.
Yeah, what an experience.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in the middle of a clubhouse where you're talking to these players who know they've accomplished something special. And it's so small in the old Yankee Stadium as it is in Fenway Park and other old ballparks where there isn't enough room for the players, let alone when you throw in the media, the cameras, and more. And you're squished in like a sardine, and you're occasionally getting hit with just champagne or whatever, just because of whatever might be going on in the room. They miss a player and it accidentally hits you, and you just realize where you are, and you step back, you take it all in, and you go, this is incredible. So yeah, my personal side was not happy on that day, but my professional side was like, this is unbelievable.
Another story you have is when the whole MLB went over to Japan to play Japanese All-Star team. And it seems like you had a great time when you went over there. Any stories you want to tell us? Or?
No, I had
one
a great
in particular
time.
I really enjoyed.
Absolutely. I really had a great time because it was just another thing that you don't get the chance to experience, traveling with the players, seeing how they travel in style, seeing how they get ready for each game. And I think what you're referring to is I used to use an opportunity. I'm not a big runner, but I used the opportunity to do some running in Tokyo because I was like, well, I'll sightsee / get some exercise at the same time. But every time you walked out of the hotel, there were so many autograph seekers, and not everybody was familiar with everyone's face, so they just saw me. They knew that was the hotel where the players were staying, and a lot of people like me who were just part of the trip but not actual players, and asked for autographs. There were a couple of groups of people, those who knew right away and didn't bother you, those who were unsure, and those who just wanted anyone's autograph that had anything to do with this trip. And I tried to say, I'm not a player, I am not, and I tried, but after a while, the language barrier and other things, you felt rude, so you might have snuck one or two in there and just sign it. So somebody's got a baseball that's totally useless with my name on it somewhere. They're trying to figure out who it is.
Decreasing the value of that Ryan Howard baseball every day.
That's exactly what's going
on. Another point you talk about in this book is how you're trying to tell these kids what, in your mind, is right and wrong, and what should be done as a sportscaster, not going over the top and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The idea is not to discourage anyone from the field. The idea is just to say what my experiences are. I'm like kind of more of a old school personality when it comes to sportscasting. I love to tell the story, but I don't like to make it about myself. And that's not for me to applaud myself or pat myself on the back. I just don't like when the announcer gets away from that and makes it about them with a special call or whatever the case may be. I think that's just kind of the message I'm trying to share out there is this is a great field. You get great experiences. You meet a lot of great people. But there are aspects of it where it's reporting the story and you're making it rather than reporting on it, and that frustrates me. Or those that make the game about them rather than what's happening on the field. That is the game. What's on the field, on the ice, on the court, whatever it is, that is the game, and that's what should just be simply reported on. And it's kind of a challenge. It's telling the next generation of sportscasters, ask better questions, report better, use better headlines, use better judgment. Stop trying to make the news. Yes, it's obviously, yeah. When you look at some of the news now, it's more turning into page 6 than it is an actual sports or a news setting.
Yeah, no, I understand it. I mean, there's a lot of news media outlets and everything out there. They're all challenging each other, but the challenge is out. Try to do a better job.
You talk about, there's a whole chapter dedicated to your good friend John Mazzano, who passed away recently.
Yeah. Well, John was a great guy in that. I only knew him for really about a year and a half, but in such a short time, we became such great friends. And he said that to me. So, and I knew it, and I'm glad that he told me, and I had a chance to know that. But he was such a, as they say, salt of the earth kind of guy, just a real down to earth guy. You would never get the impression that he ever played Major League Baseball, yet the pictures are there to prove it. He just was so real to you. He'd tell you that it doesn't matter if you didn't play or not, you still could analyze the game. You obviously know something about it. And he made you feel good. And just, he would rag on you a bunch of times, and he would just say lots of great funny stories. He was just always a jokester and a prankster, but you could tell he was just like one of your buddies. And it really came across. And, he had a great quote that his father used to tell him. I'm sure you might have heard it elsewhere too, but he used to say it all the time, that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And I remember that, and I carry that with me, and I try to pass that along too, because, yes, as cool as it is to be involved in all these scenarios, on the field, talking to a player, whatever the case may be, he ultimately remembered that as important as it was to be that cool guy, it's more important to be nice to everybody, and that message is just great. And unfortunately, he passed away. He's no longer with us, but I'd like to think that he's watching as me and his family and his friends and everybody else kind of pass that message along to everybody else.
It's a fantastic book. You can go to sportscaster101.com, go click on that little icon of the book, as you see right here, down in the left-hand corner, or go to press the store, and you can purchase it right there. Buy 1, buy 10. It's a great book. Vinny, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.